We are back here once again on the Cowboys Report. Little late afternoon, evening, I guess it is evening really, injury update for you. And it's more bad news for the Cowboys. Tyler Booker is likely to head to injured reserve. He apparently suffered a high ankle sprain at some point late in the Cowboys' Week 3 loss against the Bears. I've seen some conflicting info on the reporting. I've seen some 3 to 5 week timelines, but Nick Harris mentions 4 to 6. Calvin Watkins said 4 to 6, and Harris mentioning injured reserve as well. Todd Archer putting out the 4 to 6 week timeline. So it's bad. We'll break down what it means for the Cowboys offensive line, some Tyler Booker replacements here on today's show. I don't believe this video will be getting a push notification. 3 videos, now the 4th video in the last 24 hours. Within the last 24 hours, 2 live shows, just no push. So help us out if you don't mind. Share today's video on social media. Would greatly appreciate that one. So Booker, right, I thought he played pretty well actually last week. It's funny. We filmed on our live show. We filmed our preview, and I was like, "Hey, if you're the Packers, I'm just gonna stunt with Micah Parsons at Terence, Steele, and Booker, and make them challenge you." Well, now I'm really gonna stunt because now it's gonna be Terence, Steele, and probably TJ Bass. The injury sucks for the Cowboys for a variety of reasons. We'll spend more time on like the updates and replacements, but you're losing one of your best offensive linemen. And now you're going to have to figure out how to be without your starting center and without your starting right guard. Like, it sucks. It's a huge blow for the Cowboys. This offensive line already wasn't playing that great. It was survivable, but I don't think Brock Hoffman had a great game in place of Cooper Beebe. I thought Tyler Booker actually did play pretty well. The tackles have been up and down at best. You have depth on the offensive line. I guess that is a bright side, but it is not the greatest depth in the world necessarily either. Booker, I thought it's shown some good stuff. You spent a first-round pick on him. He was the whole part of this Cowboys offense of the way it was going to work was, hey, we're going to build this offensive line up and down to start, but they're going to get going. Like, they're going to be a key part of the offensive line. The offensive line is going to take step forwards. They're going to be really good, and they're going to be a huge part of your offense, and it's a reason for confidence, and now you're down 2 starters already. You're 3 games into the year. You're already down CeeDee Lamb against the Packers, which terrifies me. Now you're down your center. Now you're down your right guard. It's just not good. 4 to 6 weeks is going to limit the growth a little bit too. We'll see what it looks like when he ends up coming back. It sucks. It's a bad outcome for the Cowboys. So give me your one-word reaction to the Tyler Booker injury news. Then we'll talk about the Packers game. Then we'll talk about the replacements here. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. One-word reaction to the Tyler Booker injury news. Don't like this for the Cowboys offense. Personnel-wise, you're going to be down your number 1 receiver in Lamb. Seems like he is highly unlikely to play at best. You're down your center, Cooper Beebe. You're down Tyler Booker. Packers are a little bit banged up too. Well, I haven't seen much details yet on the O-line injuries, Devontae Wyatt, beyond what we mentioned in our live show today. Like, this offensive line went from like a hopeful strength of youth to, okay, got to survive. Like, I think you made an argument that Booker was your second best offensive lineman yesterday. Like, right? Like, I thought he outplayed Guyton, thought he outplayed Steele, thought he outplayed Hoffman. Tyler Smith's awesome. Like, at least your left side has some stability, but Guyton makes like 1 brutal mistake each game at minimum, if not 2 or 3. Like, it's just like you're gonna be this really limits, I think, what you're gonna be able to do on offense. You don't have Lamb, so you're down your number 1 receiver. You're down 2 starters on the interior offensive line. The Packers front looks really good because they got Micah Parsons and Rashawn Gary now. Like, they're gonna rush 4 and drop 7. So I think your offensive game plan is gonna have to be short, quick passes, get it out, protect your quarterback, and run the ball. And if your defense can't get stops, it makes it really hard to run the ball because you got a bad game script and you're down. And then it's just like it was against the Bears. And the creative defensive coordinator gets the tee off, send some stunts, send some blitzes, show pressures, sim pressures, all kinds of chaos on that front. Like, none of it is good for the Cowboys. Like, it is a significant downside for the Cowboys. Like, Tyler Booker sounds like he's going to go on IR. Jerry Jones has been back and forth on CeeDee Lamb. Said they didn't rule out injured reserve, but expectation is he's not going to go on injured reserve. But we'll see. I think there's some uncertainty with the high ankle sprain across the board, and that's why there's some inconsistencies on the timeline for all those guys. Even on a day you expect to get Tyler, good news on Deron Bland if he might be able to play. It's just like it's just not good. And I think I was already unoptimistic, concerned about the Packers matchup. I kind of feel a little bit worse about it right now. It's just the vibes are bad, and unless they pull off some upsets, it's tough to see them getting better right now. Today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. You and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on PrizePicks, where it is good to be right. It is simple to play. You just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. You get your picks right, you could cash in. PrizePicks is the best way to get action on sports in more than 40-plus states, including California, Texas, and Georgia. PrizePicks invented the flex play because you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. They offer injury reboots. Player goes down, leaves the game in the first half, doesn't return. PrizePicks won't count it as a loss, which was huge for me last week because I had CeeDee Lamb more than receiving yards. Injury reboot kind of saved me on that front. If you haven't already, go download the app and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. Links in the comment section and the description of today's show. It's prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. So offensive line-wise, replacements, I fully expect TJ Bass to start at right guard. Hakeem Adeniji's played some guard over the course of his NFL career. Trevor Keegan has mostly been a left guard for the Cowboys. Nate Thomas briefly played some guard, but feel like he's just in line to stay at tackle. So I would anticipate TJ Bass being the next man up at right guard. The one silver lining is that I do think the Cowboys have better offensive line depth than most teams, but it is already being tested down to starters. We'll talk about some potential corresponding roster moves here in a second, but who do you want to start at right guard for the Cowboys? Let me know in the comment section of today's show. I wonder if the Cowboys potentially hold off on bringing somebody up to the active roster on outside of the game day call-ups, because the Cowboys have a couple players set to return soon from injured reserve. Eligible starting in week 4 or after week 4 are going to be Kalen Carson. I don't know how close he is or if they want him. Jonathan Mingo, who I think has a real chance where they probably want to activate in time for week 4. Phil Maffa seems unlikely there. I don't think Winfrey's still weeks away. Beebe's not ready yet. He's not eligible. Overshown's not ready yet. They want to get Savone Revel out there, but I don't know how close he is. But I think at minimum, you're going to have to make room for Jonathan Mingo next week. And hopefully in the near future, Savone Revel. So you could just go one man down and still do your full game day call-ups. You're still going to have extra inactives. So I wouldn't be shocked if they put Booker on IR to start that 4-week window and don't promote anybody to the 53-man roster and roll it out as a 52-man roster. Now, if they're worried about Bland's injury, maybe they reconsider. They've got limited call-ups left for Zion Childress, but timing works out okay there. So I wouldn't be shocked if that happened. Otherwise, you're going to have to cut somebody or place somebody else on IR if once Mingo gets called up. So I think they could kind of game the system a little bit on that front. They've only got 2 other offensive linemen, though, on the practice squad, so I would not be shocked if they did something on that front. Wesley French, they signed last week as a center. Jaron Christian, the tackle, who isn't very good. They don't actually have any other guards in the practice squad. So I wouldn't be that surprised if they looked into shuffling around the practice squad and maybe adding a lineman there. Maybe that's how they consider, a game day, a full-time call-up for somebody else. Maybe they add a Zion Childress, a Clark, a Buddy Johnson, whatever, and kind of try to get some additional offensive line depth. They went super heavy on the 53-man roster linemen. Even once they put Booker on injured reserve, They're still actually going to have, I think, 9 offensive linemen on the rosters. They got Guyton, Thomas, Smith, Keegan, Hoffman, Bass, Steele, Adeniji, Cornelius. That's still 9. That's what a lot of teams end up carrying. So numbers-wise, they're okay on the offensive line. It's just you're missing your first-round pick, an impact player, and it's just kind of a continuously bad outcome on that front. I'm worried about the offense. Because of the injuries. Like, they've overall played well, but you're down 2 key starters up front and number 1 receiver. That blows. Like, there's no way around it. So before we go, what is your confidence level in the Cowboys offense right now? Scale it from 1 to 10. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. I'm not going to change the preview or anything else. We're just going to let those videos go out. I'll mention it in the description with this update, but Booker likely to go to IR.